Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central to talk about strategies, tips, share success stories, and support each of you. Today, I think it's a pretty big deal, and we've made a significant revision to help those of you who have branches who are not reaching your potential, because our goal is to work with each of you. You're a CEO of a branch office, assuming that you've enrolled to be one. If not, we welcome you to do so, and you can do so on chapmanloanprogram.org here in the red. But for those of you that are branch offices, we want to ensure that you're generating at least $100,000 a month of branch income. That's gross income. That's very important, and it's very attainable. Some of you are hitting it, some of you aren't. So we're going to talk about a resource that's available to help pretty much ensure that you'll hit those numbers. So let's go through it. So our topic today is the client placement program. Hopefully my screen's shared. If you don't see it, let me know. The client placement program has been around, but we actually had a team meeting with a number of you last night. So some of our staff and some of you, like Mr. Johnson and others, were able to contribute to what tweaks can we make to the client placement program to make it more useful and more effective. So I'm going to give you just a brief description, and then we'll go off of what the content on the screen. So let's move it all for a second, just so we're not distracted. So just verbally, you and I talking, what's the client placement program? We'll provide you clients, not leads. We'll provide you clients. On a frequent basis, we either hear some of you saying, hey, I need more clients. I'm having trouble with clients. Do you have any leads? We will provide clients, not leads. So that's the one sentence description. So let's go through the details. So I'll move that back over. Hopefully. Okay, here we go. So following the narrative here, we have revised the client placement program called CPP to be a more useful resource for branch offices who wish to partially or fully outsource client development. And again, our motivation is we want to make sure that every one of your branches is hitting 6 figures a month, 7 figures a year. So let's go back to the basics. Each of you who have signed up to be a branch office, what we call the Opportunity Fund, have said, yes, you want to go help build financial literacy in others and be able to monetize that when they enroll into the startup program. So that's the gist. But there's 3 specific activities that you should have in place with your branch. You can either do it yourself or outsource it, but we can't ignore the 3 primary duties, which would be to generate leads. And no, I'm not saying you need to buy leads, but we need to have leads, and then we need to educate the leads, and then we need to enroll the leads. So this is the job description, if you will. And I know you don't want a job in owning a branch or an entrepreneur and all that, but these are the 3 key activities, right? If you're not doing these 3 things well, your branch is not going to reach its potential. So what we've decided to do is to revise the CPP, the client placement program. So we'll do all 3 of those things for you. And you might say, well, what's left? I'll show you. It's onboarding a client is what you'd be doing. So all you would be doing is onboarding. Is the short of it, but we'll get to that. So who is this for? When we talk about the client placement program, and I know I'm peeling back layers so you understand more and more, but who are we targeting? We're targeting those of you who are not meeting your numbers, right? If you're not making 100,000 a month, if you're not generating at least 8 new deals a month, something's wrong. And it's either you or I guess it's us. I don't know. But somewhere between these 3 activities, it's not working for you. And so what we offer to do, so regardless of the reason, so this is not about judgment. Maybe you're just too busy. Maybe you're pretty shitty at what you do. I don't know what the issue is, but if you're not able to come up to speed in these 3 areas, which you should be able to, we're here to train you and support you, we can outsource all 3 of those. Almost sounds too good to be true, but we'll go through the numbers so you understand it. It's a great deal for those of you that need help. Some of you are knocking out of the park. Some of you, we're like on April 11th and you have 0, 1, 2, maybe 3 enrollments. You're dribbling along. So this can supplement. So again, it can be a partial or a fully outsource of client development. It leaves you just simply educating, which we'll get to that in a minute. So what is the structure of the client placement program? Now, as we go through this, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, type it into the Q&A, please. The Q&A, question and answer box is like a chat box in Zoom. You type the question, I see it, and I'll be able to help you. Okay, so moving forward, what is the structure of the CPP? Well, we said the first thing that has to be done in your branch, either you do it yourself or you outsource it, is we need to generate some leads. Right? And it could be people you know or people you don't know. It could be people referred to you. That's a broad conversation, but there has to be leads for any business. You could sell muffins. You could be an accountant. You could be an attorney. You could be an auto mechanic or own an auto repair shop. Every company needs leads. I don't think there's an exception. Maybe there is and I'm missing it, but pretty much every company needs leads. So if you don't have leads, this will resolve it because we will not only provide leads, we're going to actually provide you signed clients, which we're getting to. Okay, so number one, our team, we've gone out and it's not what we thought. When we developed the branch model, we thought we'd bring people like you, smart, motivated people that have either the ability and or the experience in managing sales organizations to go out and do so. Again, some of you are doing great. Some of you are doing so-so. Some of you are not producing at all. This is available to any of you. But essentially, we'll have our sales team go generate the leads. That's number one. It gets better. We'll go have our team educate the leads. So you don't even have to do that. So we're taking care of number one and we're taking care of number two. Plus, we'll go pay the people to go enroll the clients for you, which is number three. Thus, the CPP takes care of all three. Then the fourth is, because you might say, well, what's left, man? All three activities are done. Just send me a check, right? Sign me up for that. Well, there is the onboarding, and we are going to leave the onboarding with you. Now, we'll train you and support you. It's not difficult, but it's probably what most of you really enjoy doing. It's connecting with the client and guiding them. So that is the key activity of what you'll do, because you don't have to do any of this. We'll do all this. You're just going to simply onboard them. So for each client placement program, so this essentially means a unit. A client placement program means one client transferred to you. That's what it is. So could you do 2 CPPs or 3 or 4? Sure, whatever the number, but a client placement is a specific client assigned to you. So what do you receive from the client placement? You will receive a contracted client, not a lead, not a prospect. They are under contract, right? So that has taken care of all three of these steps. That client then owes you $2,500. I mean, they owed us until we transferred the client to you. Now they owe you. The client also, there's a misspelling there. The client also owes you, because we've transferred the client to you, a minimum of a $10,000 performance fee. You might say, where's that come from? So the client is committed to working with us to raise at least $100,000. They're committed to paying 10% of that, and thus 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. So you can go to your balance sheet, and this is exactly what Charles is pointing. Yeah, this is amazing for sprucing up a balance sheet, and I feel like that may confuse people, but let's go ahead and dig into it since Charles mentioned it. So in short, for each CPP, you're going to make at least $12,500. It's contractual. They owe you that. So what at Charles' point is, well, what does that mean? So then you could go to your balance sheet every time someone signs up and put in AR of $12,500. if you're doing a capital raise yourself, or this could even work for a client, but if you are wanting to spruce up legally and ethically your balance sheet so you have the collateral for funding, this would do it, right? Because let's say that you wanted $100,000 of funding, but you didn't have any collateral, just simple numbers. So then you could get approximately 8 CPPs, and immediately we would have the collateral, because 8 times 12,500 is approximately 100,000. But Charles picked up on that. That really wasn't where I was going to go. All right, so is it free? No, it's not free. It's not free. Not free. So let's go through the cost structure, because we have to pay our people to do these things that we frankly kind of thought you were going to do, right? So if you're not going to do these 3 things, you want to outsource them, someone has to do it. It doesn't happen just by magic. So we're paying people to go do these 3 things and then transferring the client to you. So what do you pay? That's where we're at. You pay $250 per client placement program, and we only sell them in packages of 2. The reason being, and you may have gone to Walmart where you can't buy one of something, they package 2 at a time, just because the time and effort to sell one's not worth it. We're not making any money off of this. This is going out to the people that are doing the work for you, which is 1, 2, and 3. So we only sell them in packages of 2. And that kind of matches, because those of you who are branches, you've promised after a 30-day grace period to enroll at least 2 clients a week. So one package of 2 CPPs would meet your criteria for the week if you're having an off week. Now, remember, our model is a 50-50 split with you. So you will, collect $2,500 from the client. Half of that is your profit, half of that is your cost because of our structure. And then you will receive a minimum, could be a lot more, of 10%. Now, Sarah's asking about the 10%. So all of our contracts for this program are hard set at 10%. So you might say, well, no, I don't want contracts at 10%. I want contracts at 15%. Well, do your own deals then. That's fine. Our set agreements are at 10%. So you're going to net 5 points. And that's pretty good profit. Because again, did you have to go generate the lead? Nope. Did you have to go educate the lead? Nope. Did you have to go get the client under contract? Nope. All you're doing is onboarding them because they're already sold. All right, so you're going to pay the $250 up front. We do a 50-50 split of the income derived from each client. Now, a big deal is, and we're going to spend a fair amount of time talking about this, you can upgrade the client. So let's just do a role play. Let's take Dr. Davis, who's on. So let's say that Dr. Davis is the client, and we transfer Dr. Davis over to Eric. Eric's on here. Eric Boone's one of our branches. So now Dr. Davis, in this hypothetical example, is a client of Eric's. So Eric is going to do the onboarding. And what if Eric finds out that Dr. Davis really doesn't have, so he's going to ask Dr. Davis, well, tell me a little, Dr. Davis, about the type of capital raise you're looking for. And if Dr. Davis starts saying, well, I want money to start or grow a business, then that's the trigger for Eric or for you to start asking some questions. Well, does your prospect have a fundable business if they're wanting business funding? Now, if they want personal funding, then of course this wouldn't matter. But what Eric or you in this broader example may find is some of these folks don't have a fundable business, and they're a great prospect for the startup program. And we talked about how to pivot yesterday from access to capital to startup. So then we would go ahead and get the client, in this hypothetical example, Dr. Davis, her first tranche of financing. And then what a great opportunity then for Eric, the branch, to turn around and offer to help upgrade the client so they get the other resources needed for a business capital raise. All right, so with that, let's open it up for questions, comments, concerns. So is this required? No. But you're the CEO of your branch, right? You should be managing by numbers. Look at your numbers. Are you enrolling clients? Because if we don't enroll clients, you're not going to make money. no matter how smart you are, how well intended you are, if you're not enrolling clients, you're not going to make money, and your branch is not going to reach its potential. Well, we don't enroll clients just out of the blue. We have to have leads, and we have to educate leads, and we have to then enroll them. If you're good at that, and many of you are very good at that, Dr. Davis, I was using her as an example, she's very good at that. Larry Johnson is MVP at this. Many of you are very good. But if you're not good at it, then consider using the client placement program, because it's done for you and you're still generating a fair amount of income. But yes, there's a cost. Every once in a while, we'll have someone that says, well, I just want the client placement program, but I don't want to pay anything. Think about how ridiculous that is. So you want us to go hire people to do all the work that the branch is supposed to do, but you don't really want us to pay the salespeople? I mean, no one would work for you for free. So if you don't want to use the CPP, fine with me. Do it your way. If it's not working, let's fix it. Let's visit. You know, we have our phone number and our email, and we should be scheduling one-on-ones and all those things we always talk about. But you need to become competent in these three things or outsource any part of them. What I'm sharing with you is how you can outsource all three of them if need be. And it's not like a long-term commitment. You could do it once, and then we could not do it again if you didn't want to. The real intent is to help you have self-sufficient branches. I mean, you need to be running sales organizations that are profitable, but if for some reason you're not, here's a great safety net. All right, so Katori's asking about financing for the client. Yes. So the CPP in version 2.0 is through the Access to Capital program, and I can switch that over. We just had a training on that yesterday, if you all recall. So the homepage of Access to Capital allows clients to come in with no upfront cost. And then what we do is, and remember, we went through this yesterday. If you didn't see yesterday's training, you should watch it, or you can come to guaranteedfunding.org and play the little 4-minute YouTube video. But yeah, so these clients didn't have any cost any upfront cost to enroll. We get them their first tranche, and then they pay the $2,500. So tying that back to you, so then they're paying you the $2,500, which we're splitting, and then we do the implementation. We get them a minimum of $100,000, which so essentially we're your vendor doing the work. They're going to pay you 10%. Minimum of $10,000. Now, if they have a $20,000 capital raise, then they're paying you $20,000, right? It's linear. But so Katori's question was, is there financing for this? Absolutely. Yeah, the client does not have to pay it out of pocket. The client does not have to pay it out of pocket. That's the whole proposition here. And again, if you missed yesterday's training, you'll understand it more. All right, so Katori's asking the question I just addressed. No, I don't know how to hire salespeople for you, Katori, that'll go work for free. I'm not smart enough. I'm not educated enough. Maybe it's a lack of motivation. I don't know. I don't know how to get people to go work for you for free. So if you want someone to go do all the work for you that frankly you promised to do and that you can do yourself, there's a cost. I don't know how to get past that. There's a cost. And no, they're not going to wait. They've delivered what they've promised. They've delivered a contracted client that owes you a minimum of $12,500. But I understand, Katori, if you don't want to pay for this, you don't have to. I'm not here pitching. I hope, frankly, none of you will use this. Instead, I hope all of you will realize there's three things that you need to do in your branch, and through our assistance and resources, you go make it happen. So I hope after this, none of you sign up for the client placement program. But what you know as a branch office is you promised after a 30-day grace period to enroll at least 2 clients a week. Well, it's Thursday morning. What's your production been this week? What has your production been? Let's stop with pause and go through that. So each of you who are a current branch, how many clients have you enrolled this week? Anthony, can you put in the question and answer a number? How many clients have you enrolled this week, Anthony? Bernard, can you type it in? Katori, Charles, Dr. Davis, Eric, Gilbert, Gina, Harold, Jeanette, Johnny, Mr. Johnson, Marilyn. There's 329 of you on here. Pauline, Pearlie, Robert, Roz. I need a number from everybody. How many have you enrolled this week? Now, the week's not over, but if we get to the end of the day tomorrow, Friday, and you've not enrolled at least two, and you've been with us more than 30 days, then something is wrong. Something's wrong, and we need to fix it. I would rather you not buy client placement program, but this is the insurance policy that keeps you compliant and helps you make money if, no offense meant, if you're ineffective right now, and that can change and you can improve, but if you're ineffective at doing your job, and I hate to be so direct. So when we have branch offices, opportunity fund participants come aboard, we're looking for confident, motivated, committed people. And I believe all of you are that. There's a 30-day grace period for ramp up. Very few successful branches need that ramp up period, maybe a week or two at most. But regardless, you've committed to making money and enrolling clients. And if you're not going to produce yourself, here's an insurance policy. If you're not going to produce and you're not going to use a client placement program, then you're really looking at a default of your branch, which isn't what we want. Don't get me wrong, we don't want that. But what else can we do? We can teach you and support you and assist you in doing your job, or we can do it for you, right? I don't know that there's any other options. And so that's where we're at. So this was meant to be a feel-good training, not a Debbie Downer, but the bottom line is great news. There's a new resource available. And if you want to participate, it's easy and it's profitable. So we're here to help you be successful, rather it be you organically doing these things, which would be ideal. And if you're not, I'll go back to the Chapman website for a moment. Hopefully you all realize there's a certification curriculum now on Chapman Loan Program. It's free. Even if you're not a branch, you can go through it. There's 5 modules. If you've not gone through these 5 modules, I plead with you to do it, because it teaches you how to do these 5 things. Well, how do you generate leads? It's in modules 2 and 3. How do you educate leads? It's in module 1. How do you enroll leads? It's in module 5. It's here. All right, so what else can I help any of you with today? They're going to start auditing the branches to judge us internally. Are we doing our job? Are we training you? We're attempting to. Most weekday mornings, we're getting together, and then we do one-on-ones. We provide you the resources, but if there's something we're not doing, then let us know. But otherwise, we need you to do your part. All right, Katori has another great question. After the 500 is submitted, because we're selling these in packages, how long until the client? Well, we want you to have new clients, right? This isn't someone that signed up 6 years ago that's dead on the log. So these are new clients. I would say typically within 24 to 48 hours, we should be able to get you your client. And we'll send you the actual contract, right? So we're transferring what's called title of the contract. So the client is contracted with us, because we don't know who's going to get each CPP when we contract with them. And so then we legally and ethically transfer ownership of that contract from us to you. Thus, now the client owes you, client owes you, client owes you. We still do all the work. You're just going to do the initial upfront onboarding. And we'll teach you how to do that once you buy your first CPP. Not difficult. Susan's asking how long the onboarding takes. I would say 15 minutes. If you have to have 2 calls with the client, 2 15-minute calls, 30 minutes. So it's not a big time commitment. It's probably the solution to what most of you need. Now, when we had the meeting last night with Mr. Johnson and others, the discussion was, should we take number 4 off and do it as well? But at some point, there's no reason of including your branch, right? If we're going to literally do everything, why include your branch? It just didn't make sense. So your skin in the game, if you will, other than buying the client, it's not buying the lead, buying the client, is onboarding the client. But most of you like that, right? It's connecting with the clients, understanding their needs, creating a relationship, and then getting the client engaged. But we'll teach you how to do that. Everyone doesn't need to be trained on that if you're not going to use the CPP. So offhand, not asking a commitment as we wrap up today, any of you think that this could help you with your branch? I'll be more specific. Do any of you want to consider getting client placement programs this week? Today's Thursday, so today or tomorrow, because we've got to gauge what we're doing based upon the anticipated flow, the anticipated need. And so if there's a lot of need, we've got to ramp up what we're doing. So how many of you have interest, not asking you to commit, but have interest in outsourcing this and participating in the client placement program this week? And that's especially relevant to those of you that are not hitting your numbers. Because if you're not hitting your numbers and you're not going to use this, then we got to figure out what's the other option. All right, Dr. Davis just asked me the dollars and cents, and Dr. Davis, I apologize. We spent time going through this, so I don't know what else to say, Dr. Davis, than literally what we've gone through. So maybe we can visit one-on-one, because I've attempted to cover it with you. I'm sorry, cover it with you. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns anyone has? So the question is, well, how do you request that? If you want this, how do you let us know? Is there a website, there's no contract, it's simple, but just email us, right? Let us know. We should be having weekly calls, but even if we don't have a weekly call this week, just email us and say, hey, I'm ready for 2 client placement programs, and we'll get you set up. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We're going to have a partial week next week because of some travel. We'll be in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, out Thursday, Friday. But that's a long time away, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Bye.